What's going on, guys? Sertavinci back here with another video from Outward, and today I'm going to be showing any of you guys who are fans of playing the rogue style of gameplay in RPGs that you can do exactly that in Outward. Now, this wasn't really a planned video, but I was kind of experimenting after having my main weapon break. And I didn't really want to sleep or anything. I'm right outside of Berg in the Enmarkar Forest. That's Berg just to the north of me. I'm about at this location right here. And I ended up having, like I said, my main weapon here break on me while I was fighting one of those red ethereal guys to the west more. And I didn't really have a backup weapon, but I did have a dagger, and I hadn't really tested out the daggers much at all. I did have the abilities set to my quick slots, but I never really used it because I always use the shield. So I decided to test it out, and it ended up working out pretty well. You do start off the game with, I believe you start the game with it anyway, the dagger slash. That's the only way to really use the dagger as a weapon is by having this ability equipped. It only costs 2 stamina with a 0.5 second cooldown, as you can see. You can kind of just spam that, but you can't really combo it. But another ability that you can get, and I might show you how to get that in another video, is Backstab. And Backstab is another dagger ability, only costs 5 stamina with a 15 second cooldown. It is a dagger attack, and if the attack hits the enemy in the back, then the damage and impact are tripled. Now, this thing already does 25 damage, and that's actually really good. There are different types of daggers. You can get the Shiv Dagger, which is probably the worst. There's one in between the Shiv Dagger and this one, but I ended up actually looting this one in a crate, so I figured why not keep it on me. It only weighs a couple pounds. And yeah, so the awesome thing about this is combining the backstab with my combat technique that I've learned against human enemies, at least, or most enemies that have like if you start backpedaling against enemies, I've showed it in previous videos as well. Some of them will start either running at you or just moving more quickly at you, and then they will do like a charging attack, kind of like a normal attack like this, and then they do that kind of attack, and it gives you a brief moment to hit them once or twice, depending on the attack speed of your main weapon, before they can really recover from that attack. So, and on top of that, traps, I would also like to mention in this video, are actually extremely effective as well. I also ignored those at the beginning because I'm not necessarily someone who delves into every mechanic in the game. Like, for example, The Witcher, like how you can combine... I mean, it's more necessary in The Witcher to use like certain concoctions and potions against certain enemies to make them weaker or to make yourself stronger against them. But I did avoid traps at the beginning, and then I tested them out and found out that they are extremely helpful. Like, for example, we got 3 enemies down there, 3 bandits, and obviously they don't know where we are right now. But if we come down here, what we can do is before we aggro them, we can kind of use, I mean, you don't have to have an environment like this, but it helps. Some sort of a path to lure them into. Now, there's different kind of traps you can use. I primarily just use the tripwire because it's the most common to come across. I have a couple of pressure plate ones that I found, but I haven't found any other than 2, so I don't bother wasting them just in case they can be really useful later on in the game. So basically, you just set a tripwire. Once you hit A on it in your inventory, it'll show where it's going to place, and you place it down. And then you walk up to it, press Y, and you can put spikes into it. You can put enemy materials like the antlers from the deer or the bones from like wolves and stuff like that into it. But I usually just use the metal blades. Throw that in there, and it's all set. You cannot trip it yourself, so don't worry about that. And I mean, you can place multiple of these. I think the most I've had down at one time was 4 of them. So I don't know if there's a max limit to how many you can have open at one time, but you can definitely do at least 4. So I have those set, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my bow. Like I said, full rogue style play here. You can get the bow, and especially with this bow right here, the awesome part about this is that this particular bow, the Coralhorn bow, which you might have seen in my previous videos as well. It inflicts pain on the enemy, which makes them take more physical damage. And since we're using the dagger and more arrows if you need to, and obviously the spike traps, that's all physical damage. So that's all going to get affected by that buff, or debuff on the enemy anyway. So this guy's all alone. Those two are attempting to walk into the water for whatever reason. So actually this guy isn't necessarily the best guy to aggro because he's got a bow, but hopefully he doesn't join combat into us right away. He kind of just comes to check out what it was. And then we will switch over to our sword and dagger. Oh, the other guys are coming now too. Alright, so we'll get this guy's attention, and we'll run up close to him so that he puts the bow away. There we go. And now we'll lure the trap. And look at the amount of damage that trap is doing. I mean, these are just typical bandits, but I've used traps against other enemies too. They work on ethereals as well, and ethereals have a large health pool, which makes them a bit more tough to take out. So using those traps, there was an area I went to a little while ago, and I set up some traps before I aggroed them, and I took away at least half their health before I even had to worry about fighting them in melee combat, which is awesome. So now I would like to show the power of the dagger. So what I'm going to do is pull out the bow again. Oops. Well, aim our arrow, hit this guy with it. And if he has red coming out of him, that means he has the pain debuff, which I don't see right now. Try hit him again, just in case he doesn't have it. I suck at aiming. Alright, he doesn't seem to be getting it. Oh, okay, he's got it. I don't know. Oh, actually, he's pretty much dead already now. That's unfortunate. Drop that really. Oh, actually, we can't. We kind of need that to get our weapon out. Now we can drop it. Alright. So, we'll let this guy do his charge attack like I was talking about. Once he starts running quicker at us. Well, basically, once he starts running at us... Okay, he doesn't seem to want to. I think I just aggroed the other guy, too. No, not yet. Come on, run at me, buddy. Are you serious? Oh, there he goes. Okay. Now, that one was just a regular dagger slash, just because I wanted to get rid of that guy anyway. To show off how powerful the backstab, though, is with the dagger, I'm not even going to bother shooting the guy. The next guy with the arrow. We'll just straight up go in and melee him with the dagger anyway. So we got his attention. He should run at us, and once he runs at you, or it's pretty much with most melee enemies, they'll do, like he's kind of jogging right now. There'll be a time where he sprints at us. We just throw up our block just in case his swing actually goes at us, and then we want to step toward him. That was kind of just an example. On this next one, I'll actually do the backstab. And look at that. Also, this dagger inflicts bleed. I think all daggers do, but if not, this one does for sure. And look at that. I basically just one-shot that guy. Didn't take any damage, didn't have to block any attacks. Very simple. So, one thing's for sure, as effective as shields are, no matter what weapon no matter what you're using, as long as you have at least a weapon in your main hands, you will block any physical attack. Obviously, magical attacks you can't block whether you have a shield or weapon or not, but it almost makes it, if you want to take the risk of it, obviously you can't block arrows without a shield, but having the dagger, if you don't necessarily have the strongest melee weapon, yeah, backstab, once you learn it, and like I said, I'll show how to get it in a future video. I ended up acquiring it in probably a previous video that I should have uploaded by now. But, yeah, daggers are insane. So if you get yourself, primarily if you get yourself a hold of the broad dagger, obviously a dagger that inflicts bleeding. So maybe not all daggers do cause bleeding, but, and not to mention a broken sword that you can block with. Obviously, it's not going to have as much impact resistance because it's broken, but just saying, the dagger is insane. But anyway, guys, hopefully this video helped you out. Obviously, if you're more of a rogue style player, as I am, I like to use the bow and try to play stealthy, which in this game, stealth isn't very easy to do because enemies are usually patrolling. By the time you get behind them, they're probably going to turn around and look at you. But yeah, hopefully this helps you actually look forward to making a build or anything like that revolving around certain weapons. Obviously, like I said, if you're more of a rogue style player, this is definitely the video for you, and I just wanted to show that it is definitely a build that is very viable, if not extremely powerful. But anyway, guys, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.